its economy and be helpful in any way we can. And also in the security area, but also in the cooperation we have undertaken to work on humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. We want to further that effort and be able to help even more as we move towards a framework agreement where the United States and the Philippines can move to the next level of its relationship. Because that's my priority as ambassador here, which is to broaden and deepen what has already been a very fine relationship, a great relationship, a historic relationship in the economic and commercial area, in the security area, and in those people-to-people ties. So I'm here. The President was kind enough to accept my letters of credence and to have a nice conversation about many of these same issues, and I'm ready to take a few questions.
Benji Luanag from DZBB.
DZBB.
DZBB,
Good
exactly.
afternoon, Ambassador. Welcome to the Philippines. Number one, are you satisfied on how the Philippine government is giving assistance to the victim of Super Typhoon Haiyan?
You know, we've been very involved in all aspects of the initial relief efforts, in the first instance, the unique capability that the United States could bring to that effort. But also our civilian efforts, which will be ongoing and continue even with the decrease in our military presence. And we take our lead from the Philippine government. And, you know, I think everyone should understand that this was not a typhoon, this was a super typhoon. It was something unlike anything we'd seen in its intensity, the water rush, the winds, and the amount of rain. So it was a very difficult situation to respond to. But we're working very closely with the government of the Philippines, taking the lead from here as we move into this next stage. Thankfully, I think the response has been good. The response, by the way, also internationally has been really tremendous. The outpouring of sympathy and affection for the Filipino people as this situation has evolved. And I think the fact that we now are in that is a good indication that we, in coming together, taking the lead from the Philippine government, are making progress.
As ambassador, so you told us a while ago about your top priority. And any other priorities do you have, sir?
I think it's enough to want to make the relationship as strong as possible. This is a great historic relationship, and I'm in some ways building on the work done by many over many years. I do think we're in a unique moment, and that moment includes being able to expand some of the cooperation that we've talked about in the economic area, whether it's through the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and I recognize that the Philippines isn't part of the first tranche of countries that will be involved, but for the future. Or the framework agreement, which has such an impact on humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, maritime security, the issues of the South China Sea, all of those things. So I think that if we do that and we continue to enhance our people-to-people relations, we'll be in good shape.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Philippines.
Thank you very much.
Christian Esguerra from the Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Sir, I'd like to ask about about China's declaration of air defense identification zone. A few days after the announcement, the United States sent unarmed bombers in the area. And then later on, it ordered American airlines to follow China's instructions. So what message is the U.S. sending by doing these two things?
First of all, let me say that the United States has expressed its concern, both to the Chinese directly, but through the media and in every other way, about this step taken by the Chinese government to declare an ADIZ. We do not believe that this is a move intended to build confidence or in any other way improve the situation, but instead will create tension and the possibility of miscalculations. And that's never good, especially in an area where we know that whether it's over the Senkakus or here in Southeast Asia and the South China Sea are difficult issues. So I start from that premise. As for the question about commercial versus military aircraft, let me say that we take a different position, even if we don't believe that the ADIZ is warranted. The United States does not impose an ADIZ on aircraft that are not entering U.S. airspace. But at the same time, we can't, with commercial aircraft, take chances, as I mentioned, of miscalculation. So we've recommended to our commercial airlines that they give such notification. So that's where the difference is between military and commercial.
Sir, given the Philippines' own territorial dispute with China, should we be alarmed or worried with ADIZ?
We believe in free navigation, whether it's in the air or on the sea. That's where the United States stands, and we will continue to press those beliefs, and we will support the peaceful and legal diplomatic efforts underway to resolve tensions. We don't take sides we're not a claimant state on any of these territorial features, but at the same time, we strongly support the countries of this region coming together for a code of conduct which will help set out the rules of the road or the rules of the sea, and will be a way for tensions to decrease. The same is true of any legal recourse that the Philippine government has taken.
Thank you.
Celerina Monte from the Daily Manila Shimbun.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, you have mentioned about the framework agreement. Do you have any expectation as to when this could be signed?
I don't know exactly when. We have an agreement still to negotiate and to work out some of the details. What I can say is that it's important for both countries. It's important for the Philippines, I think, as we saw with the Super Typhoon Yolanda, to have even a greater ability to provide for humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. The ability to have that a little bit faster and more efficiently will always be of help. There are reasons to build minimal defense capability and maritime defense awareness. That will come with a framework agreement. So ultimately, these are decisions that have to be taken by both governments, but I think it's inherently in the interests of both to move forward, and I hope it'll happen as soon as possible.
What are the other issues that need to be threshed out?
I think I'll take a page from other negotiations and not decide to declare them in front of cameras and journalists. I think you may know some of them, but they're difficult issues sometimes when you're talking about these kinds of agreements. Let me say clearly, though, we're not talking about bases or any kind of new bases for the United States. This is about our help the Philippine government and military as it advances in many areas in its own interests. So, as I say, I hope it's as soon as possible.
Sir, last
Thank you.
point.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you.